Thank you very much, Tim and Bill. Thank you for that $1 million contribution. You should wear your glasses the next time. Reverend Lehman, to other clergy in the room, their elected officials, Senator Lavelle had to leave. He said, send me your remarks later. I'll be happy to read them then. It's great to see those in uniforms, Chief Bond and your team. Thanks for coming. And to the scouts in the room, in particular, AJ in the back there. Where's AJ? Stand up. How about another round of applause for AJ? AJ, I hope you do better than I did as a Cub Scout. I was in it for the Pinewood Derby. Once the Pinewood Derby was over, I kind of lost interest. Went back to football and basketball. But this is really a tremendous organization, and as I think about the most important job that I have as your governor, which is to make sure that Delaware has a strong and growing and competitive economy. Because when you think about it, all the challenges that we face, all the things that make the state strong, if folks have good jobs, everything else is a heck of a lot easier to do. And so I spend a lot of time as your governor thinking about how we prepare our young people for the economy of the future. And it's never been harder than it is today. I was at a national governors conference recently in Washington, D.C., and the CEO of IBM was speaking. She was talking about how difficult it is to find people to do the jobs that they have at IBM today, a company that's remade itself several times over the last 30 years. And she said something that really struck me. She said that for the young children entering first grade and kindergarten this year, when they graduate from high school so many years down the road, 50% of the jobs that will be available at that time don't even exist today. They don't even exist today. So how do you prepare the next generation to be competitive in that kind of environment? As I know, the mission of the Boy Scouts is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over the course of their lifetime. And I can't tell you how important that mission is, particularly for the formation of our young for the future economy. When I was a member of Congress, and I'm glad to be back here in Delaware, by the way, one of the great privileges was to nominate young graduates from high school to our military academy. Just incredible young people that we would see year in and year out. And being here in Delaware, most were attracted to the Naval Academy because it's pretty close over here in Annapolis. And I can't tell you how many of those young people that were so competitive had at the top of their resume the fact that they were a scout, and in particular the fact that they had reached Eagle Scout. As I visit employers up and down our state, I ask them what we in the government can do to make their businesses more successful. And just about everybody says to better prepare the workforce of the future. We need employees who will show up to work on time, who can interact politely with our customers, who are loyal to our company. It may seem like a low bar, but the Boy Scouts have been known for generations that these characteristics are those that you shouldn't take for granted. They're characteristics and points of character that you have to form and work on. The Scout Law gets it right to the heart of this. It says a Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, reverent. That sounds like a job description for every employer I visited this past year in our state. There's a psychologist from the University of Pennsylvania named Angela Duckworth. She studied a group of cadets at West Point, the best of the best that we send to our military academies. During their first year, the cadets have to go through something that they call beast barracks. For 7 weeks, they have to do physical and mental tasks for 17 hours a day with no break. It's extremely grueling, as you can imagine. And it's when a lot of the cadets drop out of the academy altogether. This psychologist was trying to figure out what the difference was between the kids who dropped out and those who finished and went on to become Army officers. Turns out that the difference wasn't their SAT scores, the difference wasn't their physical ability or their high school performance. It was something this psychologist called grit. Grit, which she defined as a combination of passion and perseverance. And when you think about it, grit and character, what the Boy Scouts form, is really what it takes. When I took office a little bit over a year ago, I reestablished something that we call the Family Services Cabinet Council. Once a month, I bring together the leaders of all my cabinet secretaries who offer programs that support families and the formation of our young people. The Department of Education, the Department of Children, Youth, and their families, the Department of Corrections, the Department of Safety and Homeland Security, the Department of Health and Social Services, and the Department of Labor. The purpose is so that we can try to coordinate all the different ways, social services and ways that we touch Delaware families to make sure that no one is falling through the cracks. As part of that effort, I've really come to understand the critical role of non-governmental agencies like the Boy Scouts in the formation of our young people. Some of the most difficult problems we're trying to address here in our state are really, really tough, and we need the help of both government agencies and nonprofit agencies alike. It's a cliche for sure, but it takes a village. It takes all of us to educate and form our young people to be the workforce of the next generation. One of my favorite things to do is, as governor, and Dr. Holduck invites me into his schools from time to time, is to visit schools across our state. And I see up close and personal our obligation to children that come from very different backgrounds. Recently, I was in a Head Start facility in Northeast Wilmington. So by definition, these children are 3 to 5-year-olds, and they come from disadvantaged backgrounds. And it was amazing. I don't know how many people know the book Pete the Cat, but I was reading Pete the Cat to these young people to start off a day. And what a great way to start the day. And later that day, I went out to Hockessin, to North Star Elementary, very different areas of our state. And a bunch of students had gotten together for Earth Day to develop a program to show how important it was to save the earth. And as I was leaving that meeting and those children with a big smile on my face, I thought about our obligation to each of these children, no matter where they grow up, if they're Sussex County, all the way up to Claymont, where I grew up. That's our responsibility. And that formation is one of the best things about the Boy Scouts, I think. That's what you do. And you do those things that the government doesn't and schools don't do quite as well. You can take kids from 2 completely different family backgrounds, put them in a troop together, and the differences no longer matter. Our former governor, Jack Markell, used to say, and I love this expression, that Delaware is a state of neighbors. And when you think about it, we really are. We're small, we know one another, we're there for one another. And that scout oath to help other people at all times is such a critical message for us to give to our young people, so that we remain that state of neighbors who look after one another, and that's going to be the key to our success. And so today I just want to thank all of you for being part of this incredible organization. Whether you give $1 million today or $5, it's appreciated. We have a rich history of scouting in our state. With AJ, we're leading the way on a new frontier. And I appreciate everything that you do to make Delaware a wonderful place to live and raise our families. And so, Tim, you can scout me in, and you can scout Delaware in. God bless you.